Hello, 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 hello. Hopefully we're ready to rock and roll. Hello, everyone. How's it going? How's it going? Hope you're well. There you are. I can already switch scene. Look at that. Data's gone live. Here we go. Oh, ready. Hey, Gav, Mia, and good to see ya. Want news? Unfortunately, I don't have too much news for you. I've been keeping an eye out on things. See if anything had been maybe made of McLaren's sorry guys, I'm just reading. Nothing really in regards to McLaren, unfortunately. Nothing in regards to the hearing, so we see another great session by Yuki. Yeah, well, there's a bit of news on Yuki, actually. Yuki Tsunoda in the break has confirmed, or is it in the break, or was it... Yeah, in the break. I'm pretty sure it was in the break. Where did I just see it? I just saw it. Where's it gone? Yes, 21 minutes ago, Tsunoda has confirmed that Yuki Tsunoda will drive the RB20 in F1's end-of-season Abu Dhabi test, and that will be the first test drive that Yuki Tsunoda has had in a Red Bull racing car. How crazy is that? He's been in the RB team for 4 years, and he's never got to drive the senior car. Crazy, absolutely crazy. Hey, Sibu, good to see you, mate. Hey, Kelvin. So, this is not going to be... I mean, let's be honest, the practice sessions at Mexico are never really that interesting anyway, because it's not the most interesting of tracks. But this session is 90 minutes, as you can see there, an hour and 30 minutes at the top left-hand side of your screen. That is because we have the Pirelli tyre test, so they're testing the compounds for next year. Unfortunately, Pirelli keep that information in regards to what level of compound tyre they're on to themselves. So we don't actually get to know whether they're on the hard, whether they're on the medium, soft, whether they're on the C5, 4, 3, etc. But we will have drivers still going out there and conducting laps and practice laps, of course, running their modes. So, watching from Germany, nice, committed. Must be late there, nearly midnight, isn't it? That was about time. Thank you, Honda Racing. It is about time, Robert. Yes, it is. I mean, unfortunately, I still don't see him being in that Red Bull seat. I just think they've never really quite seen him as a Red Bull driver. He's a Honda driver. I think he deserves maybe... It's a tough one, really, because I think Yuki has been afforded a bit more time than others to get up to scratch. I mean, he's always had pace, but he's been very... He's always thrown away good results. He's been a bit crashy, and he's fortunate to still be in F1, in my opinion, considering others who haven't been afforded a lot of time. But it does show that time, if given the time, drivers can be smoothed out, and he's performing much better. And I think he does deserve to be in a better team than the RB. But the problem is, where does he fit on the grid now? That's his problem. So I think he's signed for next year, isn't he? So he's going to be in the RB team for next year, unless something dramatic happens and they get rid of him. But yeah, I think he's... Because what was the talk? Who was the talk of someone... Who was the talk of... Was it Colapinto they were talking about moving into the RB team or something? Red Bull snapping him up or something like that. Really bizarre. A few weird rumours have been floating around recently. Take them with a pinch of salt. Nothing's come from reputable sources. I think they've all originated on Reddit. So that shows how reputable those rumours are. But yeah, I think he'll be there next year, and then who knows if he'll have a position in 2026. Ferrari Falls the best in the world. Looking strong. They're looking strong. Hey, Mike. Since last saw you became a dad and you got married. Wait, I was about to say I got married. I haven't yet. Unless I've done something in my sleep that I don't know of. Oh, congrats, man. Well done. Hope it all went well. Went without a hitch. No one stood up and said, I don't want these two to get married. When they say, is it object? If anyone objects now, please stand up and have your say. So, no, congrats, man. Yeah, things heading in the right direction. So, it's wicked. ATC. However, we can sleep 1 more hour on a Sunday. Is it? Yeah, clocks go back. Do we get an extra hour of sleep, don't we? We get an extra hour. But the nights get shorter, don't they? Sorry, longer? It gets dark. It starts getting dark at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, doesn't it? That's the only depressing thing about it, but yes. So guys, if you're just tuning in, the practice session is due to start on the hour, so just under 8 minutes time, and we are yet to have any announcement. I do have Sky TV on my coverage, but you guys you're not aware of. You can't see that. I can't show that because of copyright reasons, but I do have them in my headphones so that I can keep you guys up to date with anything that is announced. Of course, I have Twitter open as well. That's where things get, shoved on there as soon as everyone knows. But I'm yet to see anything in regards to the McLaren hearing. I thought it was, unless it's later on this evening Mexico time that it's happening, but I thought it was happening 2:30 their time, so a few hours ago. Speak now or forever hold your peace. Yeah, that's it. No, you don't, Mike. I can attest to that. You definitely don't get an extra hour when you have a kid. Yeah, the longest sleep I've had since she was born has been 5 hours. We were lucky when we first brought her back. She had a couple of periods where she slept 5 hours. Other than that, yeah, I haven't had an 8-hour sleep or a 7-hour sleep since I've come home, since I brought her home. So what happened to Alex FP1? Yeah, if you're just wondering what happened to him, he got spooked by Ollie Bearman, letting him through for the S's, basically, and Alex Albon crashed into him. He had a tank swapper, no doubt, from the dirty air. But it was nothing much more that Ollie Bearman, actually looking at it back, could do, other than maybe the team saying, get through to turn 11 and then let him through down the straight. But yeah, he was right in the middle of turn 9. Alex Albon was on a push lap, and yeah, Alex had a swapper and crashed into him. Good day from Australia. Oh, happy Saturday, Ford, because it's already Saturday. You're in the future. Yuki has some issues with controlling his emotions, but thanks to France T and moving to Italy, he improved big steps. Yeah, he definitely did. I mean, he still had some anger issues at the start, didn't he? He's still quite hot-headed, but no, he has definitely got better. That's for sure. Evening, Cora. What happened to Piastri earlier on? He didn't run. He didn't set a time. No, he did set a time, didn't he? This isn't in the order that they finished in FP1, by the way. I don't know why this order is as it is. Ignore the grid right now, the standings. That isn't in any particular order of how they finish in FP1. Albon had looked a lot more comfortable since Colapinto came to uncomfortable. Yeah, we were mentioning that, Mike. Yeah, I mean, the pressure's definitely on Alex, and this isn't a good start to his weekend, regardless of how that accident occurred. But yeah, he's definitely under pressure. He won't admit he's under pressure, but he definitely is. You can't not be, considering your teammate, who has come in halfway through the season, more than halfway through the season, with no F1 experience whatsoever, and is now on your pace instantly. And then you've absolutely wiped the floor of your two teammates the last 2 years. And let's be honest, they were not anything special, were they? In Latifi and Logan Sargent, he's now got a competitor alongside him, and he's getting beaten by him. And what makes it even worse is that it's not just someone who's like seasoned in F1, it's someone who's brand new, which makes him look even worse. Wish you could at least get 4 hours sleep and not had a decent 8 hours sleep since 1986, Johnny. Need to get that looked at, buddy. That's before. I'm going to make you feel old now. I'm really sorry. That's before I was born. I was born in 91. Missed everyone because I was watching World War Z. Won't miss this session. Yes, so Max did apparently report he had a slight issue with his engine at the end of the session, which is why he pitted a little bit earlier than everyone else. So we'll see if he's got anything, if that issue rears its ugly head again here this weekend. Now, the Honda engine power unit is normally pretty good. It's normally pretty good here at the high altitude of Mexico, but it is already a few good races in use, and if Max was to take another penalty now with a new power unit, he would have to start from the back of the grid. He'd get a similar kind of grid penalty as to what like Liam Lawson got, because it would be over. He's already gone beyond his allocation, where he's already received a 10-place grid penalty like he did in Spa, but he would receive, I think, 20 or 30. It gets like doubled or tripled or something, so it guarantees you'll start from the back of the grid. So a little bit of pressure. I honestly wonder what's going through Checo's head right now. He's just hoping to put on a good performance with his... Yeah, pressure's always on, obviously, at Mexico, but anything's better than last year, eh? I could tell you ain't got grey hair in your beard. I've got a few ginger ones. Why is it an hour and 30, CD? Because we have, unfortunately, the Pirelli tyre test. So there's an extra half hour, so it ensures that drivers are able to get out there and conduct their laps and their run plans and so forth. Also, there was FP1, there was rookies that were in the cars as well, so it gives the drivers, particularly who weren't able to run an FP1, some more time to get out there and run some laps on the tyres that we're actually using for this race, whereas Pirelli want they're basically testing the compounds for next year. That's basically what they're doing, but they don't give us the information in regards to what level of compound the drivers are driving on. So yeah, it makes doing this isn't going to be the most exciting FP2 session, guys. So I don't blame you for maybe just putting this on in the background. If you want to have a chat about F1, that's basically what we're going to be doing this session. I'm going to be keeping an eye out on Twitter to see if there's any information regarding McLaren's appeal comes through, unless I've got the times mixed up and it's actually later on in the day. Someone actually said, yeah, the meeting between the stewards and McLaren over the Norris penalty protest should be happening now, and that was an journalists that I follow have reported anything in regard to that, so maybe we'll get an announcement in the middle of FP2, so let's see. You're on your dad's cat. Oh, no worries, Chris. Good to see you, mate. Am I doing more GT3 this season? I will be, Knuckle. Yeah, I've actually... Do you know what? I've surprisingly been enjoying it. I've always been kind of... I'm not the biggest fan of GT3 racing. Maybe it's because I've got less emphasis. I'm not focusing so much on my I rating. In the open wheel, I really want to get my I rating up. But in the GT3, I'm kind of like, if I'm quick, I'm quick. Of course, I want to get better, and I practice a bit to try and get better. But if I'm quick, I'm quick. If I'm not, I'm not. Like, I kind of accept I'm at the level I am, basically. And I just want to have some good races and put some good content out there. I'm trying to work my way back up to IMSA, CD. Yeah, I do like the prototypes. So I will probably fit an endurance race in at some point, if I can. Or maybe I'll just do a load of like Nordschleife fix races just to slog around, like just go slowly at the back, basically plod around at the back just to get my SR up. But yeah, I'll just do that basically. I've been enjoying it. Last King, I appreciate it might be a joke, buddy, but if we can keep politics out of the chat, please. There are other channels and spaces to do that, buddy. But let's F1 politics, by all means. Let's talk F1 politics, but real world politics, let's keep that separate. Can't seem to get out of C-Class for Formula, Chris. Yeah, it's tough, man. It is tough, especially when there's like no long distance races. What I would say, Chris, actually, if you want to get out of C-Class for Formula, when the F1 races are on, I don't know if you've got the F1 race, but when the 100% F1 races are on, just sign up for one of those and just plod around at the back. Start from the pit lane, plod around at the back. And I know it's an hour and a half, but trust me, you'll get a shed load of safety rating. Do 2 of those, and you'll get an automatic promotion. So, hey, Kelly, good to see you. Just got back from a theatre. Did you miss anything? You missed Alex Albon crashing into Ollie Behrman. That's what you missed. But other than that, no, not really much to make note of. So you can see there, guys, where it says T on the tyre history. That's because they're on the Pirelli compound, the compound that we don't know that they're on. So they're obviously getting out there early to test these tyres, and then they'll go on to the normal compound of tyres and give us some better indication of their pace. You missed a crash, disappointing. How does someone become a moderator for you? Like to watch over sessions and stuff? Would you like to be a moderator, Gavin? I can always do with some more mods. So C44, thank you for the sub, for the follow on Twitch. If it's something you'd like to do, Gavin, as you are a member of the channel and you're a continued viewer of this channel, I'm happy for you to be a mod if you'd like to do so. Just playing around. Seems like Angie ever gives me a break in this channel, so I much appreciate it. My pleasure, man. Cool. I'll do it. I'll see if I can do it shortly, Gavin. No problem. How's the new tyres? No one knows yet. No one knows. 119.895 from Norris. But we'll see if... I'm waiting to see if McLaren's appeal was being upheld or not. So apparently... Verstappen's engine that had an issue in FP1, guys. The car suffered from a leak in the turbo intake pipe late in FP1. Apparently, it was fixed quickly. Changing to a new floor took a bit longer after a piece of metal. But apparently fell off of a bridge onto the track, caused damage to the underside of the car. It also caused damage to the underside of Lewis Hamilton's car, which Kimi Antonelli was driving. So that's why we had that very early red flag for a few minutes. Falling off of a bridge. That's not good, is it? That's not good at all. Apparently the floor is badly damaged. We have to replace it. So we still have a spare floor, Helmut Marko says. So all good for Max Verstappen. Just hit 2.3k I rating open wheels after 2 months, but struggling to get C license. Yeah, it is tough. It is tough. Unfortunately, you have to sacrifice... When you're trying to get safety rating in open wheels, you have to sacrifice I rating. It's very difficult to get both at the same time. So, yeah, you kind of have to sacrifice just plodding around I rating to plod around at the back. Qualifier, start from the pit lane, plod around at the back for a few races at a circuit that's got lots of corners, not at a circuit that's got minimal corners. What's the McLaren appeal? So the appeal is of the incident last week in COTA between Lando Norris and Max Verstappen. Apparently, there's new evidence that came to light of... there is new evidence that has come from McLaren or something that the stewards weren't privy to. I don't know what that is. No one knows what that is. And apparently, so normally there's a 2-stage part of the appeal. If you get past the first stage... Then it goes to the second stage, and apparently the first stage should have been completed by now, unless it's still ongoing. We don't know, but it has happened, or it is happening as we speak. So maybe we'll get an answer in regards to their appeal throughout this FP2 session. I was expecting it to be done beforehand, but nothing has been announced as of yet. Also, Charles Leclerc's car, was that fixed after the collision with Alex Albon? Yeah, should be. Yeah, it should be. It was only front left suspension damage, so hopefully there wasn't anything too more severe than that. So Leclerc yet to come out of the pit lane, so we'll see. Alex Albon, I don't know if there was quite a lot of damage. Oh, there's a yellow. Who's gone off there? Gasly's gone off at turn 1. Briefly. Normally we see that, a lock up down into turn 1. They go through the escape area there. Everyone's on these testing tyres at the moment. No one's decided to go out on the normal tyres. I'm a what? I'm a banging commentator. Legendary battle commentator last week. Thank you, man. Do I have much technical knowledge, Drew? Yeah. So I'm not as in depth as some people out there. the good thing is that I'm surrounded by people. I'm part of the Missed Apex podcast crew, and there's guys in there who are very, very well versed in the technical side of things. I've got a basic level of technical knowledge. I kind of know what things do, but I'm not the guy to get down into the nitty-gritty of things. And I do a lot of reading. If you want to know how I've got so much knowledge, I just read. I read a lot about F1, and I've just watched it for many years. That's all, really. And the fact we haven't heard anything yet suggests it's gone to the next stage of the appeal process. Maybe. I don't know how that works, though. I don't know if it goes to a second stage instantly or if it goes to a second stage, say, next week, you know? But I'd assume they'd want to get it all bottomed out before the race on Sunday so that everyone knows where they're sitting. So, could depends on making Albon look ordinary. Is Sainz under pressure to smash him now? What, Sainz to beat Albon? I mean, yes, of course he will be. Sainz will want to beat Albon. And of course, Albon will want to beat Sainz. Albon needs to try and end this year strong. Definitely. Because otherwise, he's definitely on the back foot going into the new year. But it is kind of also, at the same time, a fresh start for him against Carlos Sainz. So even if he has a poor end to the season, I don't think James Vowles is going to be... James Vowles is a bit more meticulous. He's not the sort of jump to conclusions sort of guy. He looks at the data and the analysis and so forth. And I think he will understand that a pairing of Alex Albon and Carlos Sainz has the potential to be very strong next year. So I think he'll give Albon... Albon is definitely going to be in that seat at the start of next year. If levels of this performance continue throughout the start of next season, then maybe there'd be a change with Colapinto. Yeah. Verstappen reporting, I still hear a weird noise in the engine. Oh, has Red Bull still got that issue with the engine? Stay tuned, guys. Could there be some mechanical issues here at the highest altitude circuit on the calendar? That is very interesting. A circuit where the Red Bull has always gone very well at, especially that Honda power unit. So, stay tuned on that. If the evidence is strong, it will head into stage 2. Fair enough, yeah. I mean, I assume it would head into stage 2. It's when that stage 2 process occurs, you know? Does it happen after this session? Is it just go straight into stage 2 instantly? I don't know, to be fair. So, hey, Steve-O! You made it. For a Friday, it's been a mad one with work and trading just finished. Respect, man. Respect the grind. Well, hopefully we've got a good weekend of F1 ahead of us. Of course, not as exciting maybe as COTA last week because, Mexico... I don't have high hopes. The only thing that's kind of keeping it interesting is maybe, of course, well, there still is technically a championship battle on the cards. So we'll see if Lando can come back strong. Ferrari is still strong. Max Verstappen as well. So hopefully we still have a battle amongst the top teams. A question to ask Trumpets then. Do teams measure the circumference of each tyre with a stagger tape? Is it the Pirelli quality? That is most definitely a Trumpets question, Drew. Yeah, that is the nitty and gritty of the technical side, but yeah, I'm not well versed in. That anything to do with tyres, I'll just go ask Trumpets, yeah. The fact of it, you force yourself to stay awake, Nick. I don't blame you in falling asleep if you want to. I don't blame you. Oh, Max back in the pits. Max back in the pits. I mean, to be fair, most cars are coming back into the pits, so maybe it's not just a case of... Well, actually, he's only done 2 laps on those set of tyres, Max, so maybe they're rechecking the car. We'll see. I'll bet even if Red Bull has to do an engine sort, the FIA won't give Verstappen a penalty. But they should. It should be one that he has to... if he does have to take one, he'll start from the back of the grid, 100%. So, what's up with the tyre data, Ollie? So, unfortunately, the reason FP2 is a bit longer today, it's a 90-minute session, and we have a Pirelli tyre test for the new compounds that they're trying out for next year. So, we don't know what tyre, we don't know what level of compound they're using, we don't know what tyre, whether if it's a hard, soft, C5, C4, C3, etc. So unfortunately, it's blind. It's a blind kind of test. I think they have to try out 2 different types of compound, and then Pirelli will take those tyres away. So we should get the drivers out there soon on the normal set of compounds that we expect to see this weekend. Now, F1 is worth being tired. I've been watching it since I was 6, around 50 years. Oh, cool. Hopefully Max doesn't change the engine. The DNF would really open things up. It really would. It really would. Daniel Ricciardo gone, and it seems that the V-Carb are much faster. Yes. Yeah, I mean, look, I think Liam Lawson is a talent. I think he should have been at the start of the season as well, as much as I do like Daniel Ricciardo. I think he proved himself last season to get an opportunity at the start of the year, but it's a shame that he didn't. Liam Lawson does have a brand new power unit, and that's why he did so well last week, not to take anything away from him, but he had a brand new power unit, which has helped. What was it? Double yellow. George Russell. Has George Russell gone off? Has George Russell spun, or has he lost it? And it's a red flag. And I think for the 2nd week in a row, George Russell may have crashed. Oh no. What has happened here? This is identical. Medical car deployed, which indicates that George Russell is in the barrier. We saw Alex Albon lose it here earlier on, but of course that was mainly due to avoiding Ollie Behrman, or Ollie Behrman throwing him off. But from George Russell to crash in FP2, he's on the new Pirelli tyres as well, which makes it even worse because they haven't really gathered any worthwhile data, Mercedes. Unbelievable here. Just waiting to see. I mean, we saw crashes here last year in this SE section. I'm waiting to see what exactly has happened. The TV coverage is a little bit behind, but oh, he's proper in the barrier. He's proper in the barrier. I assume it is his fault, Gavin. Yes, because there was no one else around him. And oh my God, it's gone in sideways. Oh dear. That's gone round on itself, hasn't it? Has he touched the curb a bit too heavy like Alex Albon did? Let's see what happened. Not a lot of parts remaining in that Mercedes garage either, is there? After last weekend. Bill should make it a hat-trick of these for Interlagos. Toto doesn't look too happy, understandably. No, it's them running the mid-downforce wing again. It makes no sense. Are they really, Connor? Oh, for God's sake. What are they doing, Mercedes, honestly? Did they not learn from last week? Did they not learn from last week? I'm waiting to see a replay. We all know he's I think he's okay. I think he's got out of the car. Russell has had some bad luck. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, if Connor's correct and they've put on the medium downforce rear wing, then that's just... Then that's basically one of the reasons why the setup changes that they had, or setup that they had last week, is the reason why both of them lost it at turn 19. Because that is a setup issue. It's definitely not a driver issue. Still waiting to see what's happened. They haven't shown anything yet. It's just showing him being recovered from the car. Hamilton is on the high downforce package. Was he running the mid downforce in FP1, Connor? Did you watch FP1? I didn't really pay too much attention to the TV coverage to see if he was running that or not. Just waiting to see if there's anything else. Nothing yet. They both ran high downforce in FP1. Okay, so that's basically just backfired on them then, putting the medium downforce. I mean, also, why would you put the medium downforce setup on or rear wing on when you're testing the new Pirelli tyres? That doesn't make sense, does it? Maybe if you're on a car that like you know how these tyres react, but remember the blue hard tyre they used at Silverstone a few years ago? Where's the best tyre to lay down rubber on the track? Yeah, the rubber, the soft will degrade quicker, so that's the tyre that will lay down more rubber. Yeah, it don't make sense. It doesn't make sense, Connor, does it? Absolutely makes no sense. All right, so George is okay. It looks like it's been quite a hard whack because they're waiting to see if George is okay before before they show the replay. Still haven't seen anything yet. Oh, here we go. Replay. So where does he lose it? On entry, no doubt. I think he might have grounded the car out, you know. I think he might have. Yeah, no, he's so maybe the skinnier wing contributed, Connor, but that's primarily him like grinding the curb. The rear, he really unsettled the rear. The car bounced up and down. That's a driver error. That's a driver error. He bottomed out. The car really unsettled, and it went round on itself. But yeah, I bet they've lowered the car and then said, "Oh, we can take less downforce from the wing now." Yeah, probably. I mean, it's most likely a setup issue as well. But he's carried that too much, isn't he? He's carried too much curb there, and the rear really bounced out. I mean, you would suspect that if you had more downforce, the car, maybe the rear wouldn't be so sketchy there, and you might have more of an opportunity to recover it. But interesting. Honestly, I didn't know about this in Mexico with high altitude and stuff. I guess you do learn something new each day. Yeah, exactly. 130 mile an hour here. Yeah, and that's the reason why it took a little while for him to get out of the car, I think. So yes. So Mexico does need a lot of downforce. It needs the wing, the really high level rear wing that we see, or like the biggest that we see, are at Monaco, where we need the most amount of downforce, and we see those come get unpackaged here again at Mexico. Yet we still reach really ridiculous speeds here because of the lack of air resistance. Try to have an idiot munching on a curb. If you got to stop turning right, rookie mistake. 25% less downforce. Yeah, I think it's 25% less air density. Yeah, so what happened to Russell? Oh, he just crashed. He's just crashed. Unless you're a Merc and you're smashing the car into the ground and running skinny wings, is a good idea. Top speed was 370 kilometers an hour. Yeah, they get up. I think the highest speeds they get up to in the whole of the duration of the season is here down the main straight. Hang on. Oh mate, the whole side is smashed in. Oh dear, that is a massive impact there. Smashed in, front right suspension and left. So all the front right is smashed in, front right smashed in, and the side pod, and the right rear looks like it's broken as well. Albon did, but a little bit further up. He was through more turn 9 than it was turn 8. Surely not 2 pit starts consecutively. It may be. I mean, look, they've got... The difference is he's done this on the Friday and not on the Saturday, so... Merc really wasted having the lineup they have. Oh, totally. But then this has been typical of Merc throughout the duration of the season, isn't it? Like, they've just really played around with their setups. They've been really trying to get... This is the problem. Like, they're running a mid-downforce setup in that session on tyres that they don't know how they're going to react. Super risky, and they also are just trying to extract performance out of the car because they don't understand it. They know there's such a small window of extracting performance, of extracting performance out of their car. But they're just trying these quirky setups, but just aren't working, evidently. This weekend and last weekend. So, wind speed is a key ratio, so probably worse than 25% downforce complete mass. Yeah, it's too late in the evening for that, Jag. No sleep for the mechanics tonight, unfortunately. Yeah, trying to trim out the car and get the floor performance. Yeah, exactly. No worries, Gavin. Welcome, part of being a mod, man. Hope you do well. Losing through car, the downforce generated by the underneath of the car goes away at a certain height, so over a bump in the bounce. Yeah, I mean, you also saw as well that it was. On the off-board, you could see it was the rear actually was bouncing, like it was up in the air. It bounced about 3 times, So without any contact to the ground, the car then just goes round on itself, and that's what happens. So is Merc close to the cost cap? Don't know, to be fair. I mean, they always operate like at the top end of the cost cap. I don't know if they'd go over it, but I mean, they'll have to go back to old parts, won't they? I mean, Jules was already running the old spec, so I don't know what parts they've got still with them. No doubt they've still got spares, but they do, Mike, but it's just such a small window of operation for them, isn't it? They just don't, like, they need perfect temperature conditions, they need perfect wind conditions. It's just, yeah. Last week the bounce caused Lewis's to crash. Yeah, which is also a setup issue as well. If they kept it more consistent and less pesky like McLaren, and they would have been more competitive. Yeah, I think that's the problem though, isn't it, Connor? Is that they're trying to find that performance that they know can get them on pole position and win races, because we have seen it throughout the duration of this year. But it's so specific of a window that they need it to be in, but they're just chasing that the whole time. That's the problem, and I get it, because they want to win races. They don't want to just finish third, second even. But bit late for the white blanket. I know, isn't it, Shawnee? Martin Brundle literally showed them what the damage was, and now they've covered it up. Russell's car is off track now, but the issue now is that they're trying to repair the barriers, the Tech Pro. They're trying to put the Tech Pro barriers back into place. So no, Russell cannot continue in FP2. No, unfortunately, definitely not. What happened? George Russell just lost it on the curb. So he's made some setup changes from FP1 to FP2, and he lost it on the curb on turn 8. The car ground out, the rear bounced up and down, was really unsettled, and because of that, it went round on itself and into the barrier. So they've been the best when their car just looks comfortable. Spa and Silverstone, they went with safe setups and were competitive. Yeah, but I think Spa, you got to think this year as well, Spa was in a much cooler condition than it was the previous years. Obviously, I know it either kind of rains at Spa or it's really hot, but this year it was kind of like just cooler conditions, which is a bit unusual for Spa at that time of the year. And they obviously did tremendously well. Silverstone as well, intermittent conditions, a bit cooler as well than it normally is in previous years at Silverstone. So that's where they've really done well. Canada also, like when we've had rain conditions, and because that's it, yeah. China, you also look at China when it rained in the sprint qualifying. When we've had wet conditions and the track gets cooler, and then subsequently it's cooler kind of the next day as well, they've done really well. But whenever it's been slightly hotter, they've just lost it. Though the next day and it was peaky and undrivable. If you enjoy the streams, consider if you do enjoy the streams, guys, thank you for everyone for tuning in. Over 500 of you here. Please hit the like and subscribe button. And of course, if you want to support the stream even further, you can join as a member, as James has just done, renewing for 11 months. Yes, so close to the blue badge, man. Nearly a year. Where is that time gone? Thank you, buddy. Much appreciated. Kevin had a good run. Time for a new Danish driver, Vesti. I don't know. Vesti's just there as a reserve, isn't he? If Russell quits F1, he'll do fine as a Tommy Hilfiger model. Slightly lower pay. Yeah, that is true. Spectators are fine. Yeah, nowhere near spectators, Ben. All good. Tech Pro barrier did its job. I am close to 31k. Yeah, thank you guys for subscribing. 30,929. Over 30,000. Crazy to think I've nearly got 31,000 subs. Unbelievable. Big thank you for the support, guys, as always. Over 500 of you here for FP2 as well. Consistency, that's the good thing. Consistency is key. So yeah, big thanks to those of you who keep tuning back in. If we get the stream to over 100 likes as well, that'd be great. That'd be great. Allison pretended they couldn't make any modification on Lewis's car as they had to care about the cost cap. One car left. I mean, they have had a fair few crashes this season, haven't they? They have. I don't think Lewis kind of even really cares now, to be honest with you. Like, he's not going to make much of a difference between now and the end of the season. He'll be hoping that maybe there's one. Thank you, Will, for the sub. Hopefully, he's hoping that there's at least one race maybe between now and the end of the season, that there's conditions that suit the car and they can get to next year. And the thing is, as well, is that he's quite evidently been outranked when it comes to setup changes. So he probably wants the car in a certain. He obviously wants the car in a certain place, but Lewis isn't there next year. So the engineers and Toto probably wants to experiment on his car to try and understand better their car for next year. So, and I get it from their perspective, but it's not great for Lewis. But he's on his way out, isn't he? So, hey, Mick, good to see you, mate. What time is it here? It is now 11:30, basically. 11:30 here in the UK. Merck and Aston use the same wind tunnel, which is very old and not up to the job. Yes, yeah, there seems to be maybe potentially a bit of a correlation between Aston and Mercedes, both struggling with performance, especially Aston. They've really struggled, haven't they? Aston may be a different team in 26. Yeah, I don't expect them to improve much. I don't expect Aston to improve next year. They might improve maybe the second half of the season, where Adrian Newey's influence might impart on the team. But his focus is going to be primarily on 26, isn't it? They're not going to utilise him so much for 2025. So Phil Merck really hasn't cared about Lewis this season. It baffles me after all these years together. Yeah, they could have done better, really, with their support for Lewis. They could have done better, but hey-ho, he still won 2 races this season, and he won the one that matters for him, which is the British Grand Prix. So what a moment that was. We'll forever remember that moment as Lewis and, British fans. Of course, if you're not a Lewis fan, then maybe not. Bring back the W13. No, let's not do that. FP2 is reminding me of the Monaco Sunday race this year with the barriers being smashed in. Yeah, that was a fair old whack back then, wasn't it? With Bottas. Not Bottas, it was Perez and that, wasn't it? Ben. Alonso leaving Alpine was actually legit acrimonious and they never messed with his car the way Merck have done Lewis. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying they haven't messed. So messing with his car is a bit different, but I think they've just been, I don't know, a bit negligent. I just think, to be honest with you, the whole tyre blanket issue, I think Mercedes has just been very poor operationally this year. I mean, you look at Russell as well. Russell has been very poor. So it's not just Lewis. Mercedes are just, as a team, been shit this year. There's no way of beating around the bush. They've been very, very poor. And they just don't... They've just been poor in this regulation, regardless, haven't they? In this regulation set, they've been terrible. So they've treated him better than Ferrari treated Schumi in 06, to be fair. Yeah. It's really unlike Mercedes to get these cars in the barriers so often. Silverstone was a great race, yeah. 100k likes. Oh, 100k likes. 100 likes. Thank you, guys. Much appreciated. If you're just joining us, there is a red flag. So it was an hour-and-a-half session. We are in the middle of a Pirelli tyre test, unfortunately. There will be normal tyres on the cars soon, hopefully. But George Russell has brought out the red flag after crashing in the S's into turn 9. He went over the curb, which is on the inside of turn 8 there, where that fit number is, where my mouse is, right here. And the car grounded out, it bottomed out, and because of that, the rear bounced when it rejoined the circuit, and he went round into a spin into the barrier. So yeah, the car is absolutely battered, and that is why the red flag is currently out. And we're waiting for them to repair the barriers and put them back into place, so that this session can get underway again. So they announced sponsorship the same weekend in F1 and supercars. Oh, they joined supercars as well. Didn't they used to have a Toyota supercar? Because it's now Ford, Mustang, and Chevy in it. They used to have a Toyota, I believe, but... so look at Aston, but they have managed to keep hold of Lance Stroll for all his ability to develop the car. Mercedes road cars got worse too in the last few years, really? Is that coincidence that their CEO, was it left last year or the year before, who'd been there for like 20 plus years, 30 plus years? and now the team's going in a different direction. Like, that's one of the reasons I think why Lewis Hamilton wasn't given an ambassadorial role at Mercedes, and why he's leaving to Ferrari, is that the CEO left. The guy with the moustache, can't remember his name, the white moustache. He left after being at Mercedes for like 30 plus years, like ridiculously long he'd been there for. And then you've got new ownership, new vision, new direction, and they were more focused on acquiring Max Verstappen, supposedly, than giving Lewis Hamilton an ambassadorial role, a paid one at that as well. And that's what kind of really hurt him. And he decided to go open conversations with Ferrari instead. So maybe Mercedes is just going in the wrong direction because their team, like the main company, has had a different change. Obviously, Toto Wolff still owns a large majority in the F1 team, but it's still primarily owned by Mercedes, the company. Thank you for the sub, Stu, and Nikki as well. Thank you, guys. James Smith, much appreciated. And anyone else who's subbed in the meantime. My bets for quali, Jamie? Oh, no idea yet. Ask me at the end. I'll come back to you that on FP2. Is it the main straight they've shortened DRS on? Unfortunately, it is, Knuckle. Yeah, I don't know if that's going to work or not. Don't know the thinking behind that. We'll see. It's not like overtakes have ever been easy here, so I'm not quite sure. I might be thinking of Nissan, Andy. Okay, fair enough. I'm thinking of the Supra. Okay, Super GT car. I feel no matter how good an impact Nui has, the Constructors' Championship just seems impossible with Lance in the lineup. Yes, exactly. Well, we've seen Max Verstappen, like we've seen basically Sergio Perez in the most dominant car in F1 history struggle to finish P2 in the championship behind his teammate who has dominated. That is the difference. Just because you're in a dominant car doesn't mean that every single driver can get the same pace out of it. There are drivers who are just that extra level, like Max, like Lewis, Leclerc, who will get that most out of the car. Alonso even as well. I mean, look at what Alonso's done with that Aston Martin compared to Lance Stroll. I mean, that's just the difference there, isn't it, of what a driver can make, of how good of a driver difference can make. So Johnny Supercars in 26. Okay, cool. How many teams destroyed this season by own upgrades? There's been quite a few, actually, who've made step backwards, haven't they, Mick? If Ferrari were a big example. In Barcelona, they had this massive upgrade package that they brought, and they had to revert back to the old one because it was just poor for them. And that's why they had to drop there's a number of reasons why they had to drop off in performance in the mid-year, primarily due to poor strategy decisions. But they really dropped off in performance as well after Monaco. And Barcelona, I think it was. Hey, session will resume at 36, so less than 2 minutes, guys. Because they had to go backwards, and their old package, while it was good, the other teams made steps forward, and then Monza really sorted out their issues, and that's why we're now seeing them be fighting up the front. So they brought no upgrade to Austin. I know. I think even Nico could fight up top with a great car. He brings good results with the Haas. I do hope Audi can possibly make a good car. We'll see. Yeah, time will tell. I don't have much faith, but it'd be great if a team like Audi could fight their way up front. So yeah, Toyota have got the technical partnership with Haas, haven't they, as well? They've just announced that. So that's going to be interesting to see how that develops with Haas. Connor, I reckon that Racing Point was the second best car in 2020, but made it look third with Perez and Stroll driving. Interesting. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I mean, maybe, yeah. George Bennett Russell. Carlos is way too underrated. He's had so much amazing drives, I recall. Yeah, he's been a bit flaky this year. Hey, green light, pit exit open, guys. Here we go. Yeah, drivers are going to still be on the Pirelli tyres, the new tyres for next year. So still don't really know how relevant these lap times are. Thank you for the sub, Tristan. Am I going to be racing any more F1, Shawnee? I will do. I'm going. Oh, there's a yellow flag in the last sector. Why's that? Put it away. I'm going to try, Shawnee. It's tough for me, unfortunately, at the moment because obviously with a little one now, trying to get those races in is a bit tough. And then when they're on at the weekends, the 100% races, I'm kind of doing these, the watch-alongs. So yeah, I'll try. But Interlagos, yeah, I may make a return to Interlagos. What are the last few races, Connor? What do we head to in the last 3 races? Because we've got Interlagos and then it's 3 tracks, but need to be substitutes, don't they? The hypercars in World Endurance Championship are really cool. What was the pole time last year? 17.1, Alfeo. 17.1. We're not far off that already. Portimao. Oh, Portimao and Hockenheim. Oh, wicked. I might have to try and see if I can fit a time in for one of those. So the tyres they're using now, Tristan, are the new tyres for next year, the new compounds for next year. So they try. Pirelli obviously always try and adapt and move with the times. There's also reg changes that are made for the tyres that Pirelli make new compounds or alter the construction of their tyres to suit from lessons learned basically from the previous year and from what from the FIA want from them. So this is like one of the many test sessions that they've got to ensure that they can gather data basically. So thought it was a GT3 driver now. Just while the combos for this week, for the next couple of weeks of it. I mean, it's typical, Andy. I'm on paternity leave for a month, and we have the worst combination of tracks for all the open wheel series, like ever. No participation during the day. Like I'm here during the day, mid-afternoon, and no one's signing up for a race. It's just like, oh, I'll sign up for a GT3 race instead. So it's bloody typical. Mazda Vid's coming. Carlos seems to still be a better choice to stay with Ferrari instead of Lewis. Ooh, I disagree with that. I do disagree with that. Even though Lewis is going to turn 40, I do think Lewis Hamilton, even at 40 years old, is better than Carlos Sainz. So it's been nice to race GT3s actually on iRacing because, as I said earlier on, I don't know. I don't care about my iRating. I just want to jump in and have a good race and see if I can get a bit quicker. Whereas maybe I do put a bit too much emphasis on iRating in the open wheel series. And because I know I've got pace in the open wheel series, I'm also like a bit more like want to do better. So yeah, it's been quite enjoyable. Go F4, Shawnee. No. Kaka! Thank you, buddy. Thank you for resubbing. Much appreciated. Good to see you, mate. Good to see you. Right, is there anything yet in regards to the McLaren appeal? Nothing as of yet, from what I can see. Nothing yet. So maybe it's still being under investigation. Let's see. Chris Medland will be someone who will definitely tell us. Nothing yet. Nothing yet. Okay. Have I ever played Project Cars? I did, yes. I played Project Cars 2 on the Xbox. That was where I had my first wheel and my first kind of sim racing experience. Yeah. F4 is where SR goes to die. Yeah. I like to enjoy my racing. F4, I don't enjoy my racing. Vegas, Qatar, Abu Dhabi. Yeah. Then iRacing, the F1 races where they don't have the same track in iRacing, the sim, they substitute it out for a different track. So, but yeah, still not really any relevance here, guys, in regards to these lap times at the moment. So Pirelli are just running new laps. I mean, what is intriguing is that Max Verstappen is only just back out there after having after complaining about his engine again. He obviously had a turbo issue, a leak in his turbo in FP1, which they said they fixed quite quickly, but then reported that the engine was still sounding weird and reacting weird when he did a couple of laps earlier. So he is back out there, so we'll see how he gets on. Alex Albon, not going to be... It looks like they haven't got that car repaired in enough time for FP2, which is understandable considering how much damage there was to that Williams. And of course, Russell brought out the red flag for a crash earlier on. I don't know, this is a hot take, but I really think this is Leclerc's best season in the sport. So Charles Leclerc has been super consistent this year. Every single race. So he went on a bad run of form. So there's been a few races this year where Ferrari have really kind of been the cause of his poor performances. There's been one driver error really from Charles Leclerc that has caused him a poor result, which is Silverstone. His qualifying performance was not great in Q2, which he didn't get through, and then we know how that race panned out for him. But he is finishing the top 5 of every single race, but excluding sprint races, top 5 of every single race where Ferrari haven't been the cause of his poor strategy, basically, or a poor result. So he's been super consistent. And he's won 3 times this year as well. It's the same amount of times as Lando Norris. Lando's won 3 times this year as well, I think. He hasn't won 4 times, has he? So whose car is at corner 9? George Russell. Some of the bad races were Ferrari's track course. Exactly. Yeah. Canada wasn't great for Charles either, but he's been so good for the rest. Yeah, but that was also due to... So I looked back at it because I was going to put a video together, but then I just didn't get around to doing it. About Charles Leclerc could arguably be less than 30 points behind Max Verstappen at this moment in time. He was 31 points behind Max after Monaco. So, and then he went on that poor run of form where he didn't score in Canada. He finished 5th in Barcelona. He didn't score in Silverstone. Austria was poor for him as well. So, like, yeah. I'm not saying he would have won those races or finished on the podium, but he could have finished in the top. If you benchmark it against where he's finished in all of the races he's had no issues, he's at least finished in the top 5. And that's super consistent. So, and gone underrated. 2 years, Kaka. Wow. Much appreciated, man. Bottas being this good in practice gives me too much hope. Just bring it down a bit. Bring your expectations down just a little bit. Oh, we got yellow again. Oh, was that Lewis Hamilton going off there? Was that Lewis Hamilton having the same issue there, or wobble through the S's that George Russell did? No. Not the same Mercedes that has probably got the same setup as George Russell. No. I'm waiting to see the TV coverage. Let's just make sure that's not... I mean, I assume so. He did go slowly through there. Just waiting to see. When are they going to get it on the normal tyres as well? Come on, we want some relevant data here, guys. We want some relevant data. How crazy of a sentence is that, though, TC? I hope Lewis gets through to Q3 this weekend. Just take that in for a second. You hope Lewis Hamilton gets through to Q3. That is a crazy question when you think about it. That is the type of season that Lewis Hamilton has had with Mercedes. He could either be on pole position or not make it through to Q3. Or Q1, sorry, out of Q1. I know, I'm waiting for TV coverage to see exactly what happened. It briefly flashed up, but they're more focused on Yuki Tsunoda, so... The Mercedes Q3 is like a race win. You don't know. Mercedes could stick it on pole. Or they're, struggling to make it through Q1. So, Max Verstappen is out of the car. Max Verstappen is actually out of the car, taking his helmet off. That's interesting. Issues with the car still? Lewis is so great around it. Yeah, he finished P2 last year, which I completely forgot. A pit lane start of DNF could shuffle things, yeah. Yeah, I'm yet to see. Let me see if there's any relevant... There's anything relevant in regards to Max Verstappen. Nothing yet, but... Maybe it's them just making changes to the car as they go on to the normal tyres. still nothing in regards to the McLaren thing, so we will see, guys. We will see. Keep trying to keep you up to date. Max don't want to run these tyres, probably. He's probably done the bare minimum that he's allowed to, or he's complained that he's got an issue with the car, and yeah, just pitted. Most successful quality driver in the world in the most successful team in the last decade, struggling for Q3. Yeah, that too. That too. I'm suspecting so, Marianne. I'm suspecting so. Or maybe, yeah, Max is just saying we've got issues with our power unit and we just want to hit so that we don't have to do the amount of laps we need to on this set of tyres. Charles Leclerc's coming out now. Is he on... Oh, he's also on Pirelli tyres. Well, like the testing tyres. Fuck's sake. Leclerc and Ferrari don't inspire confidence. I don't know. I think they're getting better. They've definitely been better this year. I mean, Leclerc's engineer this year, credit where it's due. I mean, as soon as they made that change with Leclerc's engineer, there's so much more confidence that is imbued through his engineer on the radio now. Like, it's just worlds apart. And I think that's definitely helped Leclerc. He doesn't really question what... Is it Brian? He doesn't question what his engineer says to him. And his engineer sounds so much more supportive as well on the radio. So normal tyres won't resume until the last 30 minutes. Last 30 minutes? Why have they decided to take up an hour? They did this last year as well. Why have they decided to take up a whole hour of FP2 to test these new tyres? At Mexico, of all places, as well. I mean, come on. When I play Roblox F1, the true sim. Bottas being faster than Perez should make me happy, but that's just Perez. I think the drivers also just don't want to... They don't want to... They don't know what these tyres can do. They don't know what the limit of them are. These tyres that they're running right now might not be the tyres that they use for next year. So what's the point of pushing too hard on these tyres to then bin it, a la George Russell? But do you know what I mean? Like, it's pointless. You're better off just plodding around to a certain extent, and then don't make any risky mistakes or risk anything, and then just wait until you can get the actual tyres on that you're running for this weekend, where it really matters. His English is really working for him. Look at the last 6 months. Yeah, I don't think it was really so much anything lost in translation with his older is it Xavi? He's older engineer, but it's just the fact. I always said his previous engineer, just was always like concerned. He didn't. Whenever he came on the radio, it's not someone that I listen to, and I'm like, you're a confident person. Like, he was scared every single time he came on the radio, and Charles Leclerc was always second guessing him, and he was having to make decisions from the car. Whereas his new engineer now is, yeah, just more precise. He's confident, and Leclerc clearly trusts him. So I know, Finton. I don't get it. I don't get it really either. I don't get it. So I'm still trying to keep, guys. So thank you for everyone for tuning in. Over 135 likes. A renewed member, much appreciated. Let's see. Trying to see if there's anything in regards to McLaren. Probably nothing yet. Nothing yet. Come on, give us some news. Why is there no news? Oh, more problems for Chris Medland. More problems for Verstappen. He's managed just 4 laps so far, no time set, and is now out of the car with his helmet off. The car definitely doesn't look like it's going anywhere anytime soon. Problems for Verstappen. Ooh. As GP, his engineer stated, same problem, Sir Box. Oh no, not looking good for Max at the moment. Hey, Paul. I mean, George Russell's causing you a lot of work at the moment. Have you got enough parts, by the way, Paul, at Mexico after last weekend? Bono is a cool engineer, especially when he declares hammer time. Yeah. Riverser brought discipline between their drive and it. Yes, and also their strategy, their pit box. I mean, they made like a 2.5 second. Charles Leclerc's pit stop last weekend was 2.5 seconds. I mean, proper. Even if McLaren get the penalty reversed, Norris isn't winning the drivers. I mean, it makes it a little bit more easy. Well, it goes to him gaining... No, is it gain 6 points? I don't know what the point swing would be, but... I mean, at least it makes it interesting, though. You don't have any more... Oh, my God. Really? Ouch. George is eating into some old spec spares. Yeah, because that's what you put the old spec on last week, didn't you? So Lewis maintained the new spec parts, and then George has got the old spec. Have you still? So did he? So have you only got one set of new spec on at the track at the moment with Lewis? So I'm assuming, obviously, you're trying to wait to see if the updates worked before they went on to George's car. Oh, it's nothing. It's nothing that we don't already know, Andy. Paul's just confirming it. Don't worry. Okay, yeah, fair. I thought so. I think Lewis would have been a bit better if he had got out in earlier practice. To be honest, it's pretty tight testing at the moment, so it doesn't really matter. Lewis is good around this circuit, so as long as he's got a feel for it. As long as he doesn't bin it, as Paul's informing us right now, because it sounds like Mercedes don't have enough parts. One more crash, and one of them's missing the race on Sunday. Hope you're well, though, Paul. Hope you're well, man. I think it's a 3-point swing if McLaren wins the appeal. Okay, so yeah, I mean, it's definitely better than being an extra 3 points behind, isn't it? So, V couples determines the winners between teammates with their split strats. Would be nice to see Lawson get the worst strat just once. And yeah, V Carb's horrendous, absolutely horrendous with their strategy. I mean, Liam Lawson actually got a decent one last weekend, didn't he? For once, so. When he going to the 2020 car. Yeah, not had the time to repair the one he binned last week. Oh, God. Oh, dear. At this rate, not going to see any normal tyre running. I think we will. I think someone said it's the last half an hour we're allowed to see normal tyre running. The last half an hour, so... Paul, answer this question, if you know. What genuinely is the window of peak operation for your car? Because does it have to be about 20 degrees or so? Anything above 20 degrees, it just drops. Just falls off a cliff. I don't know why I just don't take Lando serious as a title contender. I feel Max is comfortably quicker. Yeah, I mean, look, because Lando's the chasing down his first championship, isn't he? That's the thing. So, and I don't think, and I think it's quite, I'm happy to say this, and I think Lando is even as well. Like, he hasn't shown really that he's championship material. Like, there's been a couple of races where he's dominated, Zandvoort and the race in Singapore, but other than that, like when he's had to go wheel to wheel, found himself lacking. And I think that's what a lot of people define as like a champion, is when you're like, you win it wheel to wheel. It's not just about leading from the front. When the going gets tough and when you have to, when the pressure's on, like last weekend. And he should have got past Max quite comfortably. He should have done, but he didn't. And he does need to be more aggressive. He needs to have that mentality of like, no, I'm going for this championship, and I need to get one over on Max. So honestly, Lord knows. Yes, Russell did crash again, Paige. Yeah. You also went, Paul. You also went from a high downforce setup to to a medium downforce setup, from FP1 to FP2. Like, what's the? I don't get that. I don't get that. Especially at a circuit like Mexico where there's not a lot of air density. Lewis is a seating fitment in an undisclosed Italian workplace tomorrow. Do not expect much today. That's a long old flight if he goes to an Italian workplace tomorrow. Or is it an Italian workplace in Mexico? I'm tired. No, actually, I'm okay, TC. I mean, my sleep schedule is all over the place at the moment with a newborn. It's all over the place. You have to get sleep wherever you can. That's really beyond you. I know. I just thought maybe you knew. We need to see him win out a real battle and fight for a win instead of the usual 20+ second wins he's had. Yeah, I mean, whenever he's beaten Max, he's had a very big car advantage. Oh my god, they've got the whole floor off of Max's car, and they're moving it out the back of the garage. Wow. Not happy with Max's car, are they? Yeah, maybe not Max. Lando has gained confidence throughout the duration of this season, definitely, especially in his race starts. But last week he was left, like, he just needed more, didn't he? He needed to be more aggressive. He needed to cover up. I mean, he got a great race start. He was quicker off the line. He was ahead. Could have cut off Max Verstappen quite clearly, but he never did. And, you know, you give Max an inch, he'll take a mile. So I'm sure I'll find out when Shov sends his email later. You can drop me a DM, Paul. Really drop me a DM. Let me know what was included. Like how honest Norris is with himself. He admits he isn't fully polished. Yeah, I get that. But I feel like also there's an element of where Norris needs to be a bit more... Like, you could admit your mistakes and where you need to be better. But there's also an element of just believing in yourself more. I feel like sometimes he doesn't... I think definitely Max is in his head. I do. I think Max is in his head and he's like, I've got Lando covered. It's like a little brother. The big brother's got the little brother covered. And there will come a point where Lando breaks through that wall and he wins a battle with Max. Something like that. And something just clicks. I think so. He's far from polished, Lando, but he is a lot of the time. He needs to be a bit more of a dick and he needs to be a bit more... Like, no, like I do have the ability to do it. Man loses the championship by 6 points. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a total. I think he needs some help. He needs some help, Lando. The problem is that McLaren and him just haven't capitalised when they've had a good car. So, I mean, he should have won that race last week. I know Leclerc was quick, but Leclerc was out in clean air. He controlled that race comfortably. And if he was in dirty air, you struggled. You really had to drop back to like 2.5 seconds to look after your tyres. Whereas Norris went from first to fourth after the first corner. I mean, that's just... How has he lost 5 points last weekend? Missed opportunity again. It's been a whole season of missed opportunity. And really, Max has been the driver and Red Bull have been the team that have made the least amount of mistakes. If you think about it, McLaren have made considerably more mistakes than Red Bull, so Ferrari. And at some point or another, they've all arguably had, like, fast enough cars to beat Red Bull consistently, and they haven't. So Lando needs to adapt. Yeah, it's advantageous for Max or Lando that the Ferraris are in the mix for the last races. It is advantageous if they're behind Lando, but they're not. Last weekend, Lando should have had the Ferraris. I think if Lando was ahead of Charles Leclerc or ahead of T1 and stayed ahead of Max Verstappen or stayed ahead, regardless who was behind him, I think the Ferraris had the pace and the tyre management to beat Max Verstappen, because the Red Bull did fall off, really. And Max did really well to defend from Lando. He positioned his car perfectly and used his battery where he needed to. And he was very, very clever in his defence. Excluding, obviously, the incident. I mean, even the incident itself, he's clever in what he did. And I think the Ferraris would have finished in front of Max if Norris was in clean air. But we'll never know that. So this year's Red Bull can't cheat anymore, so... Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Interested to see how the air density works for McLaren. Yeah, still no tyres. Still no tyres. I mean, I think this Pirelli test has been extended due to the fact that we had that red flag, unfortunately. Why is everyone harping on Hungary when Max made Lando DNF in Austria? Austria was the start of this trajectory, everything. Even Austria, though, Lando could have stayed out. Or at least, just come into the pits and stayed out there and still scored points. Max Verstappen came into the pits and took new tyres, or a new front wing, or whatever it was, and he ended up... Well, no, he took new tyres, and he ended up finishing 7th, I think it was. Lando's car was still operational. New tyres, a new front wing, and he still could have finished in the points. So I think Lando even admitted that he retired from that race a bit too prematurely. I think the emotions got the better of him. And he was like, no, just retire the car, it's done, it's done. And they took his word for it. And that's also McLaren saying, no, you should stay out, you should come in, get new parts and go out there. But they didn't. So operationally, as a whole, as a team, Lando and McLaren have really kind of been found wanting this season, even though they've found themselves at the front. So he had rear wing and floor damage. Lando couldn't continue. I think, did he have rear wing damage? I don't know if he did have rear wing damage. I don't think he did. I'll have to have a look back at that. Can't remember. So Red Bull are investigating a PU issue. That is confirmed. That's why the floor has been removed from the car so that they can get into the power unit. Oh no. Oh no. We'll see, we'll see. Lando got mad and quit. I think so. I think McLaren actually stated after the race that he could have continued, but he decided against it. And it was an emotional decision, really. Like, the emotions got the better of him. What's my prediction for the end of the year? I mean, I did think Lando. But now, after last weekend, I think it's Max's. Yeah, I just don't see... I think Lando needs some serious luck. He needs DNFs now. I thought Lando would be able to get it done out on track. And not necessarily win every single race, but make up the points difference that were required. I think it was like 8 points per race weekend advantage. But after last weekend, I mean, which is totally doable with sprint races remaining. But after losing 5 points last weekend, that's just... Nah. I mean, the gap's now out to 57 points. Charles Leclerc is looking more like he could finish P2 ahead of Lando. Then Lando finished winning the World Championship. So unless there's some, unless there's an engine issue right now with Max and there's some mechanical issues that rear their ugly head for Red Bull, which is very unlike them if it does. I think, yeah. There hasn't been a massive point swing other than Australia throughout the whole of the season. So, which is Max's only retirement this year. Thing is, the biggest, what was that? The thing is, the biggest hits to Lando was Miami Sprint, Austria race, Monza race, and Baku. Hungary with 7 points, but that's there's way that happened, especially when in Baku, McLaren had race winning pace. Yeah, Baku was a big hit. Big hit. Yeah, massive hit. Max is going to need a working car. Yeah, exactly. With this P issue, it's going to spice things up. Max might start 11th. I mean, I suspect they'll sort it out, but the thing is, if there is an issue with that power unit, they've already used over their allocation. That's why there was a 10-place grid penalty at Spa. Now, it's my understanding that if there is another power unit that's used outside of that allocation, the penalty is more severe, so you're guaranteed to start at the back of the grid. Hence why Liam Lawson last week had a 60-place grid penalty, because he was so far beyond his allocation that he'd used for power units. So I think he'd start from the back of the grid if they took a new power unit. If he needs a turbo change, could be a hefty penalty. Doesn't seem like Lando has the right attitude to be champion yet. Yeah, I think that's kind of how it's going, isn't it? You think it's less the second time, Taco? No, surely not. Lando could have continued, but he didn't believe he could win the championship at that point. Yeah, and the thing is, I don't think McLaren really thought they could. I'm surprised about McLaren's naivety as well, is that they thought that they couldn't win the World Drivers' Championship, even at Monza. To not impart team orders there as well, because they're like, oh, well, we basically don't think we're in a World Drivers' Championship at this point. And you're like, huh? But that race could even end up costing them the Constructors' Championship if they're not careful, because Ferrari are doing very well. So all of these decisions could come back to hurt them, McLaren, in the end. So that will really spice it up, potentially. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Knowing Red Bull, they'll sort it out, but if any chance didn't have that run of 3 shocking races with no points. Exactly, Campbell, yeah. What if? This season very much is like a what if season. Max is like the driver, and Red Bull are the only team really have made the least amount of mistakes. It's been a season of who's made the least mistakes, rather than who's taken it by taking this championship by the horns. Like, no one has really, other than Max at the start of the season, where we thought it was going to be another dominant year, and it kind of hasn't. And that's played into Max's hands, is that it's been great on one hand for us to sit here and go, we don't know who's going to be winning each race every weekend and who's going to be on pole position. But for the championship, that's been the best thing for Max, because he won 7 races early on in the season, and then he ends up, and then everyone else ends up spreading the spoils or sharing the spoils. Lewis has got 2 wins. George has got a win. Norris has got 3 wins. Charles Leclerc's got 3 wins. Oscar Piastri's got 2. So there's no one else who's won 5 or 6 races to be alongside Max, and that's what you kind of need for a championship battle when someone's dominated at the start of the year. So McLaren was more focused on the constructors. Yeah, I think so. I think Piastri may win a championship before Lando does. I mean, that's the thing with Lando as well, and McLaren, is that there's no guarantee they're going to have a championship-winning car next year. And there's no guarantee for Lando that he's going to be able to win a championship next year, because he's got his teammate, who we know is quick, and will definitely take it to his teammate, as we've seen this year already. Yeah, exactly, Spaz. And I get it. Why would you as your teammate? Like, if I was Lando's teammate, I wouldn't want to see him win the championship. No. I want it to be me, and I want to have priority next year. I don't want him going into the season next year as reigning world champion. There's been some great races, Shawnee. I mean, look, at the end of the day, as an F1 fan, considering the past 2 years we had with pure dominance, we came off the closest championship in F1 history, 2021, to the 2 most dominant championships in F1 history, with winning records being broken in consecutive years by Max. And then we've come into this year where we thought it was going to be the same, and then look at where we are now with multiple race winners, still not knowing who's going to be on pole position. Like, it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant, and I just hope that it continues into next year as well. 100%, Tasha. Yeah, 100%. Thank you, Robert. I'm glad you discovered the channel as well. I love chatting F1 with you guys. And even if this FP2 session has been absolutely pointless, there's still been nearly 800 of you here in the stream right now, willing to listen to my waffle, my opinions, and we're able to have a chat. I've seen a couple of you have back and forths in the chat amongst yourselves, and you've been asking me questions and so forth, and it's been great. So we're going, they're still testing. Oh no, it's absolutely ridiculous. I was going to use a naughty word there. Look at the points per race between Max and Lewis per race. Is over 14, and Max is, yeah. I mean, yeah, Max has had the better car this year compared to Mercedes. So I think what you've seen from Lewis this year is that anyone who thinks Lewis still doesn't have it in him, I think look at the races this year where the Mercedes has been a top performing car. Now, it's been only a few races, but that's been Silverstone, that's been Spa, that's been Canada. Where else have they been good race pace wise? I think that's literally like it, 3 races. A sprint race in China, in qualifying, and then like dry conditions, eventually all the field got eaten up by Max then. Austria, did he do well in Austria? I mean, that's when really someone like Hamilton gets his motivation back. I always said this at the start of the year. He's handed in his notice. Whenever doesn't matter what job you're in, if you've handed in your notice, you know you know you don't work to your peak performance. You don't work to the best of your ability, do you? You're not quiet quitting, but you know you're on your way out. You do the bare minimum to get by until you go to your new place of work. And that's the same for Lewis in F1. We're only human at the end of the day. And especially when the team is not fighting for race wins and not a championship, which is what Lewis wants to do, he's not really fussed. He's just going through the motions. And it's only when the team has been competing for pole positions and race wins that you've seen Lewis Hamilton get the grit between his teeth again, really kind of sit up straight and win 2 races this year, which I don't think anyone expected. So I think next year's going to be really intriguing, the partnership between him and Leclerc, and I think if Ferrari give him a car, I think we will see him fight for a championship. And I would love to see not just Hamilton fight for a championship next year, but Max Verstappen and Lando and Charles, and for there to be multiple drivers in a chance of winning the championship next year. Like, that would be absolutely amazing. That's what I want. I'll still be rooting for Lewis to come out on top. I just want there to be a genuine championship battle throughout the course of the year for us to be invested in. 30,952. Yeah, thank you guys. If you could keep hitting that subscribe button, it'd be much appreciated. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Hope you've been enjoying it. Unfortunately, not the most exciting FP2. Hopefully, the weekend is more exciting. We've had 2 crashes today, though. We've had Alex Albon into Ollie Behrman, and we've had George Russell in FP2. So maybe we'll see another one tomorrow in FP3 and qualifying as well. So yeah, still lots of F1 to be conducted over the weekend, which we'll be here for. So yeah, hit that subscribe button and turn those notifications on to be notified of when I go live. I never use Pirelli tyres on my cars. Use Goodyears, Michelins and Bridgestones, all ex-F1 suppliers. Sorry, someone made mention, have I ever used my VR off camera? No, I haven't, since I kind of put it away, to be honest with you. I haven't used it since last April. Nearly a year and a half, really, basically, since I last used it. So I just love my Ultrawide now, so it's a lot easier for my content creation, easier on my eyes as well. Right, anything in regard to nothing in regards to McLaren yet either. Intriguing, nothing yet. Maybe after FP2 is when we'll get the answer of whether or not whether that appeal has been upheld or not. Who do I support when Hamilton eventually retires? F1's not the same for me since Kimi left. Was a fan since 2002. I'll still support Lando, and I always probably primarily support the Brits. I don't think there's anything wrong with supporting your nationality. There's nothing to say. That's not to say that I will support everyone who's British, because not everyone's a nice person, or I won't take to say someone's personality. I like Charles Leclerc. I do like Liam Lawson as well. I think Liam Lawson's the character, and Colapinto. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing some of the youngsters come through. That's primarily what I'm looking forward to. George Russell confirmed okay by Mercedes. Yeah, it was a fair old whack for George. So yeah, thankfully he's okay and he'll be back in the car tomorrow. But they're running out of parts. They can't afford to have any more crashes, I don't think, Mercedes. So they need to be very careful. F1 is a weird sport. I support McLaren mainly, but I'll support any British driver in any team. Yeah, I mean, I do support McLaren as well. Do you know what's really weird? And this is going to sound really, really odd to probably most of you. So I grew up, and it's kind of how you associate your teams. So what you associate with support, I guess, when you were growing up. But I supported McLaren when I was growing up, and Mika Häkkinen's my favourite driver ever. I love Mika Häkkinen. Lewis Hamilton's probably second. And I have such vivid memories of seeing the silver and black, like, West livery, and then like the silver and red of the McLaren of Lewis Hamilton, like the Vodafone livery, like the chrome livery. Like, I associate those with my support of growing up, but I feel a little bit disassociated with the current McLaren team with the papaya colours. Does that make sense? So I feel just a little bit removed from them a bit. As much as I support them and want them to do well, doesn't quite hit the same spot. with the papaya colours. Just not that big of a fan of it. I know it's like their original colours, but if they were back to the chrome and black and those older ones, older liveries, I'd be like, they're my team. Come on, Piastri. Come on, Norris. I want you to win. Like, really weird how the brain works, but that's... I'm not alone there. Thank you, guys. Thank you. I appreciate it. It just doesn't... I imagine it's like your football team, your soccer team, rugby team, whatever team, NFL team, whatever team you support, changing their main home kit, but they've had for years. You then go, that's not like my team. It is my team, but it's not my team. So, hockey, sorry. Other team sports are available out there. They would look like the Merc now, though. No, I don't think they would look like the Merc. I don't know. That West livery was iconic, and the Vodafone livery as well. Like the Vodafone livery. Oh, mwah. I mean, I've got it there. That's the Vodafone livery there. Like what? Even the overalls and the more retro style helmet of Hamilton is just. I just love that whole look. Of course, it's Lewis, but I just love that whole look, and I do want to get a Mika Hakkinen one of these as well, because Hakkinen was just the original. Well, no, the original flying fin was that Keke Rosberg. Flying fin for me was my original flying fin was Mika Hakkinen. So I'm British. Don't think I've ever supported Brits in anything besides WSPK and BTC for anyone else. Yeah, and that's fine. I mean, the great thing about F1 is that like. Doesn't matter what nationality you are, like we can support people. Sometimes we don't like people for the most ridiculous reasons, and sometimes we like people for the most ridiculous. Like, I know some people that like Liam Lawson for his hair. Like, you support Liam Lawson for his hair. Like, I mean, my missus supports Charles Leclerc because, well, for obvious reasons, he's a good-looking fella. So. Marlborough livery was good as well. Yeah, I feel like the liveries now are boring, aren't they? They're boring. I know. Carlos Sainz. People support Carlos Sainz because he's got good hair. Honestly. Google it. It's hard to support your nationality when the last two Canadian drivers are strong on the teeth. Yeah, doesn't help, does it? I think from the outset you want your countrymen to do well. And then maybe once you get to know him a bit more, you maybe go, I'm not so much of a fan. Or, no, actually, I really like this guy. So, I love it we have Brit teams with drivers from other countries. Yeah. I mean, I'd love to see Williams do well again. Also, I have a soft spot for Williams. I want them to do well because Damon Hill. I kind of caught the end of Damon Hill's career. So, Carlos has beautiful eyes. There we go, Marianne. I mean, he's also a good... I mean... Not this competition, but I do think Ferrari have the best looking driver partnership. I don't swing that way, but I think we can all kind of pretty much admit that they're two good looking fellas. So remember cheering them on for watching your first races. Oh how young you were, Taco. How naive. I can't see anything in regards to McLaren, FYI, guys. Still no news on this appeal yet. So, why has no one done... Why are we still doing a whole tyre test here? I thought we were going to be going on to normal tyres, but evidently not. Evidently not, which is a real shame. So... I like Joe. He seems like a nice guy, but slow as hell. Yeah, Joe Granu comes across really nicely as well. Last time you cut your hair was in 95. That's where I recognise you, Johnny. The Guinness Book of World Records. Ferrari looking fast and consistent again. Yeah, I'm still taking it with a pinch of salt, Connor. I expect them to be strong here, but on these tyres, I don't think you can look too much into things. It's even worse if you're American. The last driver we had was Logan Sargent. Oof. Who was the one before that? Was it Scott Dixon? Was the last one before that? Alonso the GOAT, if he had better decisions in his career, could be one of the greatest. Yes, agree, Leo. Yeah, he is probably someone who has had the worst... Well, I say the worst luck. A lot of it has been down to him and his breakdown of relationships. But Yeah, he hasn't had the best time, has he, of leaving teams. Fernando Alonso leaves the team and they become race winners. You completely analyze a loop on this tyre test thing. Yeah, unfortunately, so they did this last season. They do a tyre test for the tyres for next year. So we don't know what level of compound tyre they're using. And there's no guarantee that these tyres, the construction of these tyres, are what are going to be used for next year as well. It's just Pirelli. It's Pirelli basically gathering data, simple as. And I don't know why they use a live practice session to do so. I think the red flag has interrupted, unfortunately, any normal tyre running. So I could be wrong there, but I believe we were supposed to have... we were supposed to have 90-minute session, and I think at least 25 minutes, 20 minutes of it was due to George Russell's crash, so that hasn't helped. Scott Speed, there we go. I knew it was a Scott. So they reclaim the time from the red flag, yeah, which is a shame. I mean, it might make things more interesting because it's it's one less practice session for the drivers on the actual tyres we're using this weekend, but it gives them more of an allocation of tyres for Sunday. So it probably, I don't know, maybe it will throw up some more strategy options rather than if they were to use tyres this session. So it really sucks, no offense to the Brits, but every single time Piastri wins, they play the Oz anthem, then the anthem from McLaren. But that was like Lewis Hamilton, the British anthem play first, and then you'd always hear the German anthem to finish because of Mercedes. So, Scott Speed, iRacing legend. Is he still banned? Is Scott Speed still banned from iRacing? Had there been any Latvian drivers? Oh, good question. I'm not sure. What's happened to Max? He's playing iRacing. He probably is in the back right now. So he's had a power unit issue. He had a power unit issue in the first practice session, which they said was a turbo leak issue. They said they fixed it, sent him back out, and he's only done a few laps. And we have, round of applause in chat, guys, Zhou Guanyu, with 6.5 minutes remaining, is on our first normal set of tyres in this practice session. Unbelievable, Zhou Guanyu. The go. They put the mid-downforce car on Lewis's wing now after being in the pits. Oh no, that means there's going to be a crash through the last sector in there, or the middle sector. We'll see. I mean, Lewis is on the new spec parts compared to Russell. Maybe they've raised the ride height, Connor. Maybe they've learned from Russell's crash, and he's not going to grind over that curb. This sport drivers all are hated when they winning and dominating, love once they start losing. Yeah, I mean, we just want to see racing, don't we? Really, Cebu? We just want to see racing. Lewis Hamilton I'm watching Lewis Hamilton's icon intently as he's on the medium downforce wing and he's making his way through the middle sector there. So it's like heart in mouth moment every time he goes through the S's. Yeah, sorry, they're trying to fix it. Apparently they had a reoccurrence of the issue that Max had in FP1, so that's why he's like out of the car and got very little running. So is 80 degrees on a laptop bad? It's, yeah, quite hot, Daily. What are you running? Colapinto has a very aggressive driver championship mind right there. Oh, there's like a string of something left on Lewis Hamilton's car. How did Russell crash? Russell crashed through turn 8. The car was running too low. They made setup changes from FP1 to FP2. He ran over the curb of turn 8 and the car was like basically bottomed out, bounced up and down the rear, and then it went into a spin. Very big crash, and yeah, going to cost Mercedes quite a bit. So an Argentine circuit would be awesome. Would take a circuit away from the Arab states. As long as, I don't care where it is, as long as it provides good racing. I think we've got too many boring circuits on the calendar, but don't. I mean, this is one. This is a boring circuit. We have, people might hate me for it, but Zandvoort is a good lap to hot lap on, but it's not a great racing circuit, I still don't think. Then we've got, I mean, you may say Red Bull hater there because that's 2 Red Bull drivers' home circuits that I've just mentioned there. But I think when you've got the likes of Hockenheim, Nürburgring, you've got Sepang not on the calendar. I even say Abu Dhabi can go. I hate Abu Dhabi as a circuit. It's always boring. Qatar, we'll see. Qatar's only had 2 races, and last season was obviously a very unique scenario. So I'm willing to give that maybe a bit more consideration. I'm not overly a big fan of street circuits. I don't think they provide too much good racing either. So, what's more boring, this circuit or Stroll's interviews? Neck and neck, RJ, neck and neck. It looked like it, JC. Even Monaco sucks now with the airs. Yeah, with they're too big. The cars are too big for that circuit. So, Mugello and Portimao will be mega to have a comeback. Yeah, I think Mugello, lends itself to some wheel-to-wheel racing as well. Yeah. I agree, Andy. Once Checo leaves and Nicola Pinto is still in the sport, then maybe we'll get one then. Yeah, if there even, I'm sure there is a race circuit in Argentina, but I don't know any famous circuits in Argentina. So, yeah, they're eyeing one up for South Africa, aren't they? But I think the promoter couldn't commit to the obligations that were set out by the FIA. I think they also lost a bit of funding as well. They couldn't put up the amount of money that was required, and I don't think they could get the track up to safety standards as well. Something along those lines. But yeah, Sepang needs to come back, man. Sepang was a bloody great circuit, and you always had really inclement weather there as well. So not only was it great for racing, it was also great for the changing weather conditions we had. So it always provided great races. Hockenheim, Hockenheim should be back as well. France, unfortunately France, I mean, it's not... Yeah, Magny-Cours isn't a great circuit. I'm not a fan of that track. And the one we was at previously, horrible as well. Is Joe actually going slower on a medium compound tyre? Yeah, he's probably got more fuel in the car, to be fair. They've probably loaded him up with fuel. That's probably why. They raced at Buenos Aires up to the 90s. Oh, yeah. Was that a street circuit or was that a racetrack? That's a fair point, actually. Paul Ricard, that's it. Paul Ricard. I'm looking to see. There's still nothing. Still nothing in regards to Mercedes. I reckon they're waiting until after this session to announce the McLaren thing. See. International Autodromo Tomas Del Rio Hondo. Wow, that's a name and a half, isn't it? Add over a race like Daytona to F1, it'd be interesting. Adelaide, yeah. I mean, would Adelaide provide better racing than Albert Park? I mean, Albert Park doesn't really provide great racing, does it? It's been on the calendar for quite some time, but when was the last really memorable race at Australia? Like at Albert Park? I mean, the red flag restart at the end is not really memorable for racing, is it? It's memorable for a crash and something unique like that. But yes, there we go, guys. Hallelujah. We finally have ended this FP2 session. What an absolute bore fest. But I've really enjoyed chatting with you guys. I hope you have too. Not much. Obviously, George Russell crashing was the big story here in this session, but can we just make sure that next year we don't have a Pirelli tyre test in the middle of the race weekend? I mean, come on. Like, we just had a 3-week break. We just had a 3-week break. Do it there, for God's sake, rather than now. Unbelievable. One track that hasn't been suggested, but I want to see a London street circuit. Oh, no. The problem with London is that it will never happen because there's too much infrastructure that needs to be taken out to make it suitable. Like all the street lights and so forth. It's not feasible. It's not feasible. Did you? They did a like an exhibition, didn't they, in Trafalgar Square, not like a couple of years ago? And the amount of complaints, as we Brits like to do, the amount of complaints of people saying it disrupted their getting home from London. Oh my God, unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. So yeah, I don't think London, and I don't want to see more street circuits. Jesus, like we've got enough GP circuits out there that are designed for race cars. Like, give us, I don't care about seeing them drive past monuments for the photo opportunity. I want to see good wheel-to-wheel racing, and we have enough GP circuits out there that can provide that. Fucking use them. But the problem is, they don't bring in cash, and they're not willing to pay the money that Liberty Media wants. So, Max having braking problems. Yeah, Max didn't even get back out there. They've got the floor off the car, and they're investigating that issue they've got with the power unit. So stay tuned for tomorrow, guys, to see. Well, I'm not going to be live till tomorrow. Well, technically it is Saturday now, but yeah, we'll see if that issue rears its head. Apparently, Charles Leclerc was having issues with his car as well, with his engine. Interesting. Trying to see if there's anything else. No, nothing yet. Also, LA cannot handle the F1 fan like Traffic Man. Oh yeah, fair enough. Then yeah, I mean times change, don't they? Things move on. So, what happened to McLaren? They're all right. It's just look. Don't even look at the timing screens here, guys. The only thing to take note of is that Albon couldn't really get back out there because of the crash in FP1. Verstappen got out there, came back in very quickly due to a recurring power unit issue that they had from FP1, so they're currently investigating that. George Russell crashed, as we know, into turn 8, basically, into turn 9. Done a lot of damage to that car, so we'll see how they repair that car. They haven't got a lot of spare parts remaining, it seems. So another crash for Mercedes, and that could be in big trouble this weekend. Yeah, and that's it, really, because everyone else is on the prototype tyres, which we don't know what they're running, so can't race them. Yeah, London streets are too small, exactly, as well. I mean, where would you be able to fit an F1 race in? Because every like road in London has bloody cycle lane bollards on them. They'd have to take all those out. They'd have to put up all. Yeah, it wouldn't be feasible. The M25 might work. Cheers, guys. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, it's been great to just sit here and chat, to be honest with you. Not too much to take consideration or take note of in this session, but yeah, pleasure having a back and forth via chat anyway. And if you are yet to hit subscribe, please do. If they did London, they would probably charge congestion charges. You want to see 31k subs by FP3? I'd like to see that too. How many is that? 36 subs remaining, guys. F1 ULEZ tax will go crazy. Let's just make F1 multi-class of F1, F2 and F3 all at once. Oh my god, that'd be carnage. Ibuprofen and go to bed now. It's too late in France. Yeah, get a good sleep. Thankfully, you got the whole of tomorrow to recover for FP. Let's have a look at the session times for tomorrow. So session times for tomorrow are because FP3 and qualifying. So FP3 is on at 6:30 UK time, and then qualifying is on at 10 o'clock UK time. So basically, everything is like an hour earlier than it was today. So if you're wondering, to be exact. Which is a bit of both street and racetrack. Is it really though, Stephen? It looks like it's being conducted around an industrial estate. My pleasure. Thank you, Spaz. Thank you for that. Do I follow NASCAR? No, Mick. No, not really. No. The clock goes back for the UK tomorrow. Oh, it does, doesn't it? Yeah. Oh. Yeah, it does. Is that more sleep or less sleep? We get an extra hour of sleep, don't we? Because they go back, so we gain an hour. That's good. Not that I gain an hour, because obviously Litland at the moment is like waking up every 3 hours like clockwork. So No Europeans are into right-hand turns as well. More sleep. Good, good. Yeah, see you, Callum. F1 went through Nightingale Hospital. Right, I'm going to refresh Twitter one more time. Come on, surely there is something in regards to Mercedes. Sorry, McLaren. Doesn't look like it. Nothing at the moment. Anything on the BBC? No. Nothing at the moment. So really intrigued as to why there is nothing announced at the moment in regards to the... Let's have a look one more time at Chris Medland. In regards to the appeal, what's supposed to be happening, but nothing yet. Nothing yet. So... I bet as soon as I end the stream, the news will come out. I know. But I need to go, guys. I do need to go because, yeah, it's my turn to take over the little and try and get her to sleep. Hopefully she's still asleep, but we'll see. But yeah, everyone have a lovely rest of your evening, morning, wherever you are in the world. We'll be back tomorrow at 6:15 UK time. So wherever you are in the world, 15 minutes before... Well, 15 minutes before the session gets underway, and then of course we have qualifying as well. So yes, turn your notifications on so you are alerted for when 30 minutes before I go live. So hit that bell button and yeah, hit the subscribe button as well. It's been great chatting to you. Great chatting to you all. It's been a great Friday night, and yeah, have a good Saturday, and we'll catch you later on. See you then. Bye.